Welcome back to Enjoying Retirement. Today we're going to take a trip down to Old San Juan, Puerto Rico, the oldest city in the United States, celebrating its 500th birthday this year, 2021. Along the way, we're going to look at the two main forts that border it, El Castillo de San Felipe del Morro and Castillo de San Cristobal. Here's the fly-in, and the main thing I want you to see here is the airport on the right, and then we're moving up to San Juan Bay and where the fort is and the old town. You can see the old walled city fairly well there. Just to give you some perspective, it's only about a 15 or 20 minute drive from the airport down to Old Town. Christopher Columbus landed here in 1493, and in 1508 Ponce de Leon came and really became the leading figure here, European figure here, and he eventually became the governor. In 1521, the Spanish king authorized the building of the town on the peninsula, where we will see a little bit more how that feeds in. Now, what I like to do, usually in Old Town like this, there's always some wall that has its side taken off. I really love to study how it was built before all of the facades were put on. Moving to the east side, here we're taking a look at Castillo San Cristobal. Here is a map that they have in town. It's very well laid out there, lots of signage. We're going to start on the eastern side with the castle there. We're going to walk along the old city wall and go take a tour of Del Morro. After that, we're going to walk back down to the old city gate and finish up down by the port. Here we are on the eastern side of Old San Juan. This is Castillo de San Cristobal. It was built between 1634 and 1765, and the purpose of it was to protect El Castillo de San Felipe del Morro from attack from the land on the eastern side. However, this one, San Cristobal, is the largest fort ever built by Spain in the Americas. This is a garita, and you're going to find out that these are all over the island and kind of unique. They were the guard posts there. I was just fascinated by them, as everybody else is. Once you get in them, they generally have 3 slits so that you can look out and to the sides, and we'll see more of them later. I was just fascinated here as you walk along the city wall, leaving the fort. You got the modern basketball court down there, and then as you get further along, you have the old colonial Spanish cemetery. And these guys are all over the island, so don't be skittish when you see the grass start moving like that. Now we're walking up to Del Morro itself. It is located on a promontory that overlooks San Juan Bay. Now we're looking back from the promontory, looking back towards Old San Juan, and here is the bay on the right. Now we need a little bit of history lesson. Why is this important? To do that, we need to look at Puerto Rico from the Spanish point of view. As they crossed the Atlantic, Puerto Rico really became the first significant landmass that you find in the Americas. But that wasn't quite enough to make it special. What iced the cake for it was that when you get into the San Juan area, it has this very large protected harbor, which allows any ships coming in that need to be repaired or safety from pirates or others can come in there and get protected, make repairs, take on supplies. And in order to protect them, this castle, this fort, was built at the edge. It is a massive structure, but as I said, not as big as San Cristobal, but it is just huge. It started construction in 1539 and took about 200 years to complete, and I'll show you in a bit that even then it truly wasn't complete and hadn't fulfilled its final military mission yet. This was attacked several times, most famously by Sir Francis Drake in 1595. And Spain successfully repelled that, but it did fall in 1598 briefly, and then the Dutch attacked again in 1625. Other than that, it stayed in Spain's hands until the Spanish-American War in 1898. As you go through it, there is great signage in both Spanish and English. It is a terrific place to walk around. The main plaza, anybody who's been in uniform can tell you what that is. That's where you're going to assemble, get inspected, receive your orders, etc. Now we're looking out some of the portholes that you can see. They're not actually portholes, they're gun emplacements. There we are overlooking the harbor, and you can get a real good view there as to why this is where it is. Lots of historical relics there, cannons. You get a real good sense of what it looked like and what it was like to be there in the couple of hundred years that it was in place. Looking out of another gun emplacement, you can see another garita down there, again, where the watch guards would be. There are several there. They are all over. And there you can get a good view of the point looking out into the entrance of the harbor. There's a lighthouse that was put in much later. And now I want to show you something. If you look right there in the center, that looks kind of out of place. Well, that's because it is. That was built by the U.S. during World War II. This area was used as a significant submarine lookout station because just for the same reason that it was important back in the 1500s. This is at the entrance to the Caribbean, and it was very vital to keep those lanes, shipping lanes open during World War II. Here we are, we're walking out to one of the garitas and then looking back at the fort from its perspective. Now what I want to do is just let us walk back into that garita and just take a view around the three either gun portals or observation portals, and you can see what a great view you do get from there, and what a good field of fire you would have had for anyone attacking on land in this area. Now we are moving to the top level of the fort, and this is where you get your best view and a really good sense of just how strong and sturdy this is. We are looking back down into the dry moat that we saw when we first came in, and again, you can see that for anybody trying to invade by land, it would have been very difficult. The fields of fire and the protection that the Army would have had up top here, just fantastic. Walking out to another garita, looking out over the port of San Juan itself, and then looking down into the dry moat and back towards the entrance where we came in earlier. Now you get a real good sense of the strategic importance of this. Between guns that were placed here and guns that were placed on that island in the center, it controlled the entrance to the harbor. There's still an iguana on lookout, and you can see that cruise ship coming in. That's the same route any other ship would have had to have taken to come in, and thus this fort was a great place to protect it. But we didn't get to see it all. It's a very large place. We only spent a couple hours. It was hot. Even though it was November, it was still warm. And I had a good friend tell me, as soon as we come out of there, the number one thing we got to do is go get a piragua. Well, that's what we did. And here it is, right outside the main entrance. And if I can make a recommendation, go for the passion fruit. It was exceptional. And just what you need on a hot day. Now we're going to finish our walk through the Old Town. This is the street that takes us down to the Old San Juan gate. It's the only remaining gate that there is in the wall from that old time. And you can see just how beautiful San Juan was and is in this area. About this time, my camera ran out of batteries, so I'm left with a few snapshots that I took. But now we are outside the San Juan gate, looking to the north in this picture. And you can see more garitas looking to the south, looking out at the bay itself. and then towards downtown. And then finally, we're going to wrap up looking at the monument and the harbor here. It was just a great trip. Again, we really enjoyed Puerto Rico, everyone we met there, the great food, and the beautiful weather. That's all for now. As always, I am enjoying retirement.